Absolute hell.
Well, there you go. I mean, on that point, you know, you're right.
Welcome to Toffee TV. It is live at 5. It's 5 o'clock. We're here. It's 5 o'clock and we're here. I mean, that alone should tell you that there are serious things happening in the world. We don't know if there are.
Well, I mean, there is serious things happening in the world.
Of course there is.
Not football-wise, no, but serious enough. Stop.
Ooh.
Mad bit on your head.
I don't know what that was.
5 o'clock, I'm alive.
There you go.
I mean, what do you say about that? Other than that's 5, I'm alive, obviously.
Punctual. Punctual.
Yeah. Gary Ward has said howdy with the siren.
There you go.
You'd expect nothing less.
You wouldn't.
Gaz.
Howdy.
Hello, guy. Yeah, that's how he'd say it.
Howdy, everybody. I'm locked in the cupboard.
And Steve Kelly says, all right, lads, hope you're both well. What are your thoughts on Silva keeping his job?
To be honest, it's nothing that I didn't really, and probably trying to avoid the situation we got last time, aren't they? I imagine.
Do you think if we didn't have these 2 games, it'd have been done?
I think if Norwich had beat us before an international break, it'd be done.
Yeah.
I think Carragher mentioned last night on Monday Night Football, the fact that we've got all these games coming up, it's not the ideal start for someone new. But also, if we haven't got someone in, it wouldn't be any kind of start for an Unsworth or a Ferguson or someone like that. It would completely, kill their chances of
doing anything.
As we said previously, we remember the situation happened arising in '93, and how badly that went. They've got to get this right. They've got to get this right. Whatever happens, they've got to get it right. If that means keeping continuity for a couple of weeks or 10 days, then that's what they're going to have to do, aren't they? It's not nice. They're potentially hanging Marco Silva out to dry.
But then it's up to him. He's on a lot of money, and it's his squad, so it's up to him to prepare the team properly for Sunday and try and get a result. That's what it is, isn't it? And just, we win Sunday, then he's still not the right man. If he's not the right man today, he's not the right man regardless of a win on Sunday, is he? But at least if he won Sunday, there'd be a bit of a bounce going to Anfield, wouldn't there? But what about this? Everton get beat 4-0 Sunday. Is he sacked Monday?
2 days ahead of a day.
A day ahead of a Merseyside derby.
It's difficult, isn't it? Wouldn't you think it'd be better to sack him now with a week's preparation for a game? Or 5 days preparation?
I think he'll be our manager until 10:30 on Wednesday night. Next Wednesday. And then if we haven't got 4 to 6 points out of those 2 games,
it's been just a really poorly thought out procedure, this whole thing. Like, if someone's going to be sacked based on essentially 1 game, then he will have been sacked on the basis of other games as well, wouldn't he? Do you know what I mean? You get beat by Norwich, 2-0 at home, then it's not just that game, that's the tipping point. But you would have thought if that was the case, then you'd have someone lined up, whether it be long term or short term. You'd have sounded someone out and said, listen, if the worst happens...
What if they've sounded you out?
Yeah.
And you go, I'll have it.
Yeah.
But get these 2 games.
No, I appreciate that as well.
I don't want to come in and lose momentum with 2 away games.
I appreciate that as well, but that's no good for us. It's no good for the club. It's no good for Marco Silva either, really. So it's all just a bit of a mess at the moment. And we're stuck in limbo, aren't we now?
Yeah, I think it's really difficult when you've got a coach that you've got your hopes on, and then it starts going away from you, and you're trying to give them every chance to turn it around, and you get a result away at Southampton before an international break, and you think, all right, we've got Norwich at home, let's see if we can get back-to-back wins, and then we've got a bit of momentum going into December, and they lose so poorly against Norwich that even when you're trying to give that person the benefit of the doubt, You watched that Norwich game at the weekend. You watched that substitution of Seamus Coleman. You heard the crowd's reaction. You look and go, yeah, he's done. He's done now. There's no way really coming back from that. Unless he wins at Leicester and Liverpool, then I think people would be prepared to give him a bit longer, wouldn't he? Well, he would if
No, I know, but isn't the
imagine if he got 2 mad results.
I know, I appreciate that. It's just, but what if you were like, this is the problem with doing something like this at this time. You're not giving yourself any room to do anything, and you've got to make that decision, and that decision's got to be final. And
but they might. I mean, listen, we've just done a video which may or may not see the light. It will see the light. Whether it's edited or not is a different thing.
Won't be edited for you people. Circle of Trust.
Yeah.
We've just done a video. I think it's great.
Right.
I think it's great.
But what I'm saying is that what we said in that is that they might, for all we know, there might be someone they're talking to at the moment, and it just hasn't. All the loose ends haven't been tied.
No, they might be.
We saw that with Pochettino and Mourinho.
The status quo's got to continue till whatever happens happens.
So
This is what makes me laugh. Knowing people say things like, "No, when a manager gets sacked and then they replace him the next day, and you go, that was terrible." They were talking to that new manager behind the back. It's like, think about it. Yeah, that's what you would do, wouldn't you? You keep the status quo. You keep everything as it is. You don't give the players an excuse. You don't start putting stuff out. You don't go, well, the manager's going to get sacked after this game. You do actually continue till you stop. You don't.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we got it wrong last time. Massively wrong by putting Unsworth in charge. And not the fact that it was Unsworth. No problem. And we won a couple of home games, and it's the fact that it went on so long and we were so unprepared and we looked so unprofessional.
what they did wrong last time was they should have given Unsworth. They should have come out and said David's gonna have it for the next half a dozen games now. That's what it's gonna be while we work out who's the best man for the job. It would have given people.
Do you think maybe last time they should have told people that Unsworth was going to have it for the rest of the season?
Season.
But actually told him something different?
Yeah, possibly, yeah. And then gone, listen, we've made this because this manager became available or whatever. It's a tough one, isn't it? Because it's where the players start thinking, well, you're not going to be the manager anyway, so...
That's what I'm saying. You give a player an excuse.
Oh, they'll take it.
They'll take it.
They love it. They love it. Kane says, I hope the fans don't give stick to Silva on Sunday. All the stick should go to the board for me. We're a mess and the board get away with far too much.
That's essentially what we've just said. Well,
how do we get...
Well, I've just said
how do we get rid of... I didn't defend people, I just said we don't know. How do we get rid of certain people on the board and actually get football people running?
You go and appoint them, mate. What I've just said in the video. You go and find the best people for the job. What's the point in having trying to get a world-class stadium? What's the point in trying to have a world-class manager? What's the point in having a world-class director of football if the person whose decisions it makes, i.e. the CEO, isn't the best CEO you can find? I've got nothing against the person who currently is the CEO. I just don't believe that that person who is the CEO is the best person to be the CEO. And I think we should go and find the best one we can, like someone not a million miles away from us who went and done the same thing. You strive for the best. If you want the best stadium, you go and find the best architect. That's what we did. We didn't half-arse. We didn't go and find the fella down the road who built a nice house around the corner because it's nice. We went and found the best fella. And look at him now.
And the person to drive the project, we give it to someone who's in-house.
We brought them back.
They were already here doing other stuff. And then he got given the job permanently, which is mad. Stephen Kelly says, would you say David Moyes is still a favourite, or does your opinion change with Marco keeping, or with them keeping Silva till Sunday? I think David Moyes is still a favourite. I think if David Moyes is smart, he's looking and going, I'll have it Thursday morning, thanks, before Chelsea. And then I'll start my tenure with a home game when I can get the crowd up. I can rile it. We're against the team who will come and have a go. We've got an opportunity to beat them. Yes, they're a good side and they're dangerous, but we could beat them.
Do you think though, I mean, if there is a counter to that, is that maybe the other side of the coin is that it is November. We're in a quarter final of the League Cup. Still got the FA Cup to come, and we've basically decided to write the season off by not going out.
Oh, by not getting...
Going out and saying, because we were talking about this before, and saying, if you approach someone like Arteta now, I'm not saying he's the person I want, but if you approach an Arteta now and say, well, you've got the rest of the season to get your feet under the table. You're in the quarterfinals of the cup. You bring that winning mentality. You know, win 10 games between now and minimum 10 games, and you know, everything's fine. And then next season, you know exactly what you want. You know who you want, positions, players, how you want to take us forward. Or is that the sort of, are we on the edge there on one thing to another? Is it mentality? Is it believing in yourself? Tottenham thinking we're a Champions League team, we'll get a Champions League manager. Are we thinking?
It depends what the long-term vision is, doesn't it?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If the long-term vision isn't David Moyes and he's only temporary, what is your long-term vision? If your long-term vision is an Arteta or is a Duncan Ferguson, or is it worth not giving them to him now, or is that too much of a risk?
But again, it comes back to it is if your number one choice is Rafael Benitez and you can't get him till June.
Why can't you get him?
I don't know. I'm just saying if. I'm playing
Yeah.
devil's advocate. If, then it makes sense to employ David Moyes,
Yeah.
doesn't it? To drag you to that position. Or you give it to Duncan Ferguson, or you leave Marco Silva in charge. Or you give it to David Unsworth. They're the options to get you through to the end of the season. It's either Unsworth, Moyes, Ferguson, or Silva stays. They're your four options, really. No other manager's going to come, and Sam Allardyce might if you want to give him another 15 million. They're your options, aren't they? Or, who knows, Mikel Arteta might be going, I'm interested, actually. You're offering me the chance to, you know, apparently Kale, it's their dream to manage Everton, allegedly, him and Arteta. Arteta could be going, let me have a think about it for the next few days and see whether I want to take it on.
Well, Arsenal seem to be
Arsenal are
a little bit
worried
interested.
and they're interested in him. So who knows? Who knows, Steve? That's the real thing. I'd still say at this moment in time, if I had to hang my hat on anyone being the manager, the new manager would be David Moyes. But I'm not saying that with any more information than I had yesterday, mate. It's just the fact that there's a lot of smoke, and normally there's a bit of fire that goes with it. But who knows, the club might come and purely surprise us. Could unveil Pochettino or Allegri on Friday, who knows. But, yeah. Paul Lightley says, if a miracle happens and he beats Leicester and draws with Liverpool, does that save him?
No.
And is his lifeline the fact that Gabam and Gomez, Bernard are injured to our midfield isn't great? I'm struggling for positives for him.
Why do you need positives for him? Why do you need to defend?
I think Paul's just saying, other than that, what is there?
Why do we need to defend someone with such a bad record?
25 wins, 23 defeats, and 11 draws. That's his record as Everton
And we've
manager.
never come back from being behind,
No.
which I think
in
is
25 games.
which I think is the most significant thing. I do. I think that's a mentality that shows the mentality we've got.
Well, what would you do? You're the Everton. You're Marcel Brands now. You're Mashiri.
Yeah.
Whoever's pulling. Whoever's.
It could be so many people.
It could be Sasha Ryan-Sev. It could be Keith Harris. You're the person making the decision tonight.
Yeah.
You're looking at that. You got Leicester away Sunday, Liverpool away Wednesday. The chances are, everything being equal, that's 2 defeats. Do you pull the plug now and say to the new manager, whoever that may be, don't worry about the next 2 games. We know that we're probably going to lose them. Or do you go, like you've just said before, leave the status quo, let him prepare the team for Sunday and for Wednesday, and I'll make a judgment call on Wednesday night after the derby?
No, I think you've got to know what you want to do, and you've got to be preparing for it. And if you're going to find the new manager that you want, you almost not get dictated to, but if it's the manager you really, if Everton got a number one target, I don't know who it is, but the absolute number one target to be the long-term manager of Everton Football Club, and that manager says to you, right, I'm not available for 2 weeks because I've got to get home from China. Let's just say, right?
On
let's
a
just
slow
say,
boat.
I've got a season in China doesn't finish for 2 weeks. And then I'm your man. I'm your man then. Then you've got to make that decision. Are you willing to just let a couple of weeks go by and you to get your absolute one that you want? Or are you going to leave it? Because there was talk, wasn't there, wasn't there talk over fella from Shakhtar, who's at Roma?
Fonseca.
Wasn't there talk that he told Everton that he wasn't willing to come straight away because he wanted to see out the Champions League group, which would have been like another month? I mean, that was the talk. I'm not saying that was the truth, but that was the talk, is that he said...
when we got Allardyce in the end,
The talk was that he'd told them he wanted to see out the month, basically, in the Champions League. They weren't going to qualify, but he wanted to see it out, just in case. And then it would have been sound. I've done what I told them, whether we've qualified or haven't. And everyone were like, no, we need you now. We need you. We can't wait till like the first week in December. There's a Merseyside derby coming up and this and that. We need points in between, which we got under Allardyce, by the way. We got what, like 7 or 8 points
straight away,
in that period.
got
So
6.
so the club decided in the short term they could not risk waiting another month if they did.
10 we got.
So I suppose that would be, is there a panic? Is there a massive panic? Do they fear, or are they thinking we've got to get this right? And that's the decision they've got to make, isn't it? If they thought, I don't know, if they thought it was that bad, then they probably would have sacked him on the spot. But the problem, so it comes down to, put it this way though, if they wait a couple of games and then whoever comes in isn't like the most amazing appointment in the world, like a la David Moyes, till the end of the season, people are just going to be like, why didn't you bring that? We're not asked anyway. We're not asked about the manager, so why would we have been asked if we'd been the manager against Leicester? Why would we be asked if he was the manager against Liverpool?
But he might for momentum, mightn't he?
No, I understand that, but if you're going to get beat, I know they'd say, well, that goes again, it's on his record. And Moyes, when he came to Goodison, had only just taken over West Ham, really, at the same time, hadn't he? And they got beat 4-0, and all West Ham fans were like, this is terrible. And yet he turned that round slowly because... And I remember when we beat them 4-0, their fans were like, we're going down. And they finished comfortably, didn't he? He won like a third of the games.
Yeah, they were halfway up.
I think he won 9 games.
He beat us as well.
Yeah, last game of the season. And they won a third of the games in the end, something like that. So they were quite comfortable, but early on, fans were like, oh, this is terrible already because we beat them 4-0 and we hadn't been great. So if it was him, he might have learned from that experience. You know, well, if you're going to get beat, it might as well be someone else getting beat. I don't know. You know, what you want is you want it to just be the right appointment. So
I just want to know we're in for the right people. Eddie Howe isn't the right appointment for me. I know some people like him, but to me, he just screams of Martinez massively. If you can't sort your defence out after 5 seasons in the Premier League, that terrifies me. And the goals he conceded at the weekend were just embarrassing.
Well, again, the problem with what I love about the Eddie Howe shout is this is a manager who's won 1 of the last 7. And yeah, somehow people feel that's acceptable for Everton Football Club. That to me just goes back to Silva. Like, oh, he's a promising manager, yeah, but what's his record right now?
Can I also point out that in his last 3 seasons, he's finished lower than the season before.
Okay.
So he finished 9th, then he finished 12th, and then he finished 14th last season. So is that a manager that people want? You're slagging Silva.
I'm not excited one bit.
No, people are having to go with Silva on one hand, and then this fella that's progressively getting worse on the other is the one to go to. It embarrasses me when our fans...
I'd rather have
Duncan
I'd rather have like a Sean Dyche than him. I would.
I'd rather have Duncan every day of
Yeah.
the week and on a Sunday. Teddy Sass says, I think we should all be worried. Forget the manager situation for a minute. What's petrifying me is the mess from the decision makers. Why haven't we got a clear structure on who makes decisions? Watch the video,
Have
Teddy.
you already just watched that video?
Seems there's too many people wanting input. Are you Teddy Sass? You absolute...
I'm not being funny, but if I was going to pick a name, it would be Teddy Sass.
Teddy Sass, defo.
Girlfriend.
Which is exactly what we don't need at the moment. The way this is unfolding could be a deterrent to Brands. If he's being undermined, it could be the final straw for him. It's making Brands, who's a capable, proven man, look bad. We're honestly at a tipping point at the moment. One or two poor more decisions, or no decisions, could lead us down a very slippery, dark hole. And I'm worried sick. I don't trust Moshiri or Kenwright to make strong or good business decisions. Let the football man put this on his shoulders.
Have you got a camera in here? Have you already watched that video?
You're Teddy Sass. Bill Cummings says, poor. He's been struggling for months. They should have been sounding out candidates. Now he's a dead man walking, going into two massive fixtures. It's digging a deeper hole for ourselves. Negligence is we're in trouble, and under Silva we are getting very little. Can't argue with that,
Can't argue with anything.
Kane says, who actually makes them decisions for Everton, though, Ped? Getting rid of certain people on the board. Who's actually in charge? Problem is they're all probably best mates, and Bill, if he is in charge, is too scared to sack people.
Kane, have you been watching the video as well?
Or if Moshiri is in charge, Bill is probably in his ear. Joseph said, Ped, I was 3 rows behind you at Southampton. He gave you a little thumbs up. When you turned around, you ignored me.
I didn't ignore you. Do you know what that
He
is,
says
right?
joking.
I know.
He
Do you know what that
joking.
is, right? This is genuinely right. I get I do get people who like stare at me, or some people who let on, but I don't feel comfortable with it, right? Unless they go, all right, Ped. So next time say, all right, Ped, because then I go, what if he's talking to someone behind me?
Yeah.
And I've just gone, all right, lad, because everyone lets on to me, don't they? Next time, just go, all right, Ped, just do that. So I know you're talking to me. I don't know. I did see you, and I thought you might have been looking at me. But what if you weren't? What if? Then I would have been, look at that dickhead. Who does he think he is? Because I've had plenty of that as well. So I can't win. Just say, all right, Ped, how's it going, patron? Someone come up to me the other day at the church on crutches. His dad brought him over, and he went, Ped, you know, all right, love you. All videos are never off in our house. He went, he went, I'm a patron, and I was like, nice one for being a patron, blah blah blah. So conversation.
Job done. Joseph also says, keep up the good work, guys. Loving everything you do. Bill Cummins says, we're losing the next 2 anyway, so what's the point? That might be the point, though, Bill, mightn't it? We might be looking and going, we're losing these 2 games. Let's leave it for the new fella to come in with a home game coming up against a big team. Crowd will be up then, won't they? If ever going into Goodison on the 7th against Chelsea, if there's a new man at the helm and it's Chelsea, the crowd are more likely to have a little bit of bounce about them, aren't they? You just always are.
Depends who it is, doesn't it?
No, but I
No,
think
no.
even if it's Moyes,
No,
I think
no.
people
No,
will.
I think. Listen, I'm not downplaying. I just think the next 10 days could, or the next week.
Doesn't help us, does it? As a fan base,
The
it
next
doesn't
week,
help us.
I think we're all naturally. I think we're all
Fearful,
we're all worried
Yeah.
because of the situation, but we're also. I think this is where the board come up it, and this is where. This is with the Silva. They had plenty. You know what? I think about how long they had to think about the Silva thing. They wanted him in October and didn't get him till the following summer. They had like 7 months, 8 months to get this right, and now we're back to where we were 2 years ago. And you're right. The people who've pointed out, Teddy and Kane pointed out the board. You're absolutely spot on, because we're right back where we were. And not only are we right back where we were 2 years ago, we spent like 250, 300 million in the process. Do you know what makes me laugh? We could have done nothing, bought nobody, and we'd have half the money or more for the stadium out of our own arse pockets. That's what makes it. So we're going to get a stadium that we're going to be paying for the next 25 years. It could be half paid for now, and we could be in exactly the same situation. That's essentially what Tottenham did. Tottenham just went, we're not buying anyone, and we're going to pay for the stadium ourselves, or a lot of it in the next couple of years, and that's what they've done. So, I think that's we sit here and go, what have we been doing for 2 years?
Steve says, Steve Hardy, I don't know why a potential manager would want to wait until after Leicester-Liverpool games. Imagine what an immediate impact he would have on the club, our fans, our history. If someone came in and took us to victory at Anfield, But imagine if he didn't stay and we got bounced 4-0 or something.
A Leicester fan channel just tweeted us saying, and it just basically said, breaking news, Marco Silva will still be in charge of the visit. Yes.
Did he?
Yeah.
There you go. Owen Park says, hey lads, I don't think they want Moyes or he'd be here by now. As he hasn't got a club, I think they want Howe. Do they want Howe? Sky Bet want Howe. They want you to vote, bet for him. I don't know, Owen. Who knows? Paul Likely says, treat managerial target like player targets, if that makes sense. Wasted 40 million on 6, something you said yesterday. Suggs could have offered that to a manager of a certain standard.
Yeah, sorry.
I mean, you're watching.
No, something popped up on my feed, that's all.
Derek Hulton says, hi guys, after Saturday and the fan reaction, he cannot carry on. He will never get that fan base back. I'm not even sure he ever had it anyway. When did you ever hear the Gladys Street singing his name? I just hope the powers that be are not as bad at making this decision as he was with his substitutions on Saturday. David Collins says, lead Silva to take the hassle in the next few games. The league is that poor, we won't even get relegated with 30 points. Colin Chong must be as worried as we are about the stadium. I don't know. It's, you know what's really sad is that you shouldn't feel like this about your club. You shouldn't feel when you've got reasons to be able to bridge a gap, when you've got reasons to be able to move forward and be amongst European football, it should never get to this. We have got money. We have got a fan base that's strong. We have got a lot of talented footballers in our squad. Yes, a lot of them are weak-minded, it seems, because the way they blow leads and collapse the minute a goal goes in. It's not much needed to turn this team into a decent side. Leicester have done it.
They've made mugs of us though as fans, because when it all started, we were very, very optimistic, and that's not a natural Everton trait. And you know, we came out and we were very, you know, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and he's spending money and he's spending, and they've completely let us down, haven't they? Completely, but they've made fools of us in the process, because we honestly believed that this time we were going to get it right. We haven't had money for years, and we traded off the fact that we've done well, and if we had money we've been great, and we've been terrible, and there's no other way to look at it, and they've just made absolute mugs out of us as fans. We got what we always wanted, and it's been awful.
I've seen cop-outs, you know, tweeting Power Shift FC and all that from when we got the money, and they're laughing their jokes off at us because bad decisions have led us down to where we are now. Bad decision after bad decision, and it has to stop at some stage. Mark Guglielmo says, which of the following is more useful than Marco Silva? Taste buds in your arsehole, Italy as your ally in World War II, and Frank's drum kit, all of the above.
I mean,
probably all of the above.
I mean, you know.
Let's move on. Kane says this is the lowest he's ever seen us.
Us, me and him.
I don't. You know what, Kane? Right? We've been.
I've just used all my energy on a video, by the way.
I think we've been lower. I think the pair of us are at a stage now where it's just.
What do we say?
It's a disappointment. It's disappointment, isn't it? We've been angry and we've been terrified, and this is just disappointment, and it's a limbo as well, because we know the manager's going to get sacked. We know he's going to be sacked. If it's not this week, it's next week, and so we're all in limbo. We've got a game at the weekend that I honestly can't be arsed with, because we're going to get banged. We haven't got a chance on Sunday.
By Leicester.
Leicester will smash us. We haven't got a chance, because to win at Leicester, you've got to be strong and be able to defend and then take your opportunities. And if he goes out and picks the slowest team that he can pick, which he did last week, we will get bounced. We got a chance if he makes some changes and Iwobi's in the middle with Davis and Calvert-Lewin's back in because he's got legs and Bernard might be fit. Then we've got half a chance, of course we have, because it's a game. But if we go with the same slow, boring, methodical shite that was served up, and apologies for swearing, that was served up on Saturday against Norwich, Leicester will bang us, and then Liverpool will destroy us anyway. So that's why it's almost like just get these two games out the way quickly and then a decision will be made. Now, if Everton grew some balls, or they come to a decision with a new manager tomorrow when they decided to remove the managerial team, and they come in on Friday, you'd get a little bounce for that. Oh, I wonder what he'll do Sunday. I wonder if the players will be a bit more fired up. You'd go into that game and thinking, half a chance or whatever. But just at the minute, mate, it's just, to me, I just can't wait till next Thursday. When the derby's over, them games are done, and we can move on. And that's bad.
Yeah.
Really.
If you want to cheer us up, go and buy a hoodie.
Or a leather hat. and
Don't
send
buy a
it in.
leather hat. We're not doing leather hats.
No, we're not.
Or shall we?
Maybe we should. Manager might buy one. And
A
someone
leather-
buy Bowen Morty a coat.
A leather cap.
Compete.
Come on. Leather
Um,
cap. What's all that about?
Steve said, wouldn't surprise me if they still sacked him before Sunday. What did you make of the Paul Joyce article about Brands today? You're go on, Cuphead. You do that.
I think,
Justified?
to a point, I think what I'd say about it is I don't believe personally, this is just my personal opinion, this isn't a fact or a shared belief maybe. I can't speak for Baz. I don't think Marcel Brands can do the job to the best of his ability with the structure as it is at Everton Football Club at the moment. I think there are barriers in his way. I think there's people above him and below him who are maybe reluctant to the change that he wants to bring to Everton Football Club. And while that's the case, it will always make him look bad. I agree that, and I said at the time, some of the decisions in the summer were strange in terms of centre-back and you know, the fact that also we never got a replacement for Garnering sorted a lot earlier, either earlier in the window or even being objective and thinking 6 months before to bring someone in, knowing that. And again, that comes down to, people might say, well, we didn't know he wanted to leave. But surely you speak to your players regularly about contracts and stuff like that. And if they don't want to sign a new contract, then you say, well, if that's the case, we're probably going to have to replace you then, aren't we? And I think these are the things that Everton just massively fall down on as a club, being prepared. I think what the top Premier League clubs are showing at the moment is you have to buy a year in advance of actually needing a player. So if you think, well, if you know a player's going to leave or a player's getting old, you buy his replacement a year before. We always seem to wait a year after. You know, Seamus Coleman should have been replacement the year before because he just had a broken leg. You know, we should have been buying a replacement right then, thinking, this lad may never come back the same. We better go and get a top-class replacement. Baines. Oh, sorry, yeah, you're right. Absolutely, I mean,
How could you forget that? How could you forget it?
Baines. I mean, I know we got a replacement in the end, but really we should have bought Robinson a year before. We should have. I mean, I love Dean and he's brilliant, but we should have really. You know, we should have bought a replacement for Jags 2 years ago. You know, look
Could
like
have done them both in one fell swoop.
But look like, I mean, this isn't a modern thing. Gareth Barry's replacement should have been a year before. All these players, they age out. You know, Pep Guardiola wants players every 3 years aged out. He bought Bernardo Silva 2 years before David Silva, and David Silva could still do it in the Premier League, and still can do it now, even if it's his last season. These are the things you've got to do as a club. You've got to. The reason Tottenham are the way they are this season is because they went 2.5 years without buying a player. Now, of course, that was for the stadium, so they've got a legitimate reason. But that's why now all their players are getting old together and they're all getting out of contract. They didn't address the situation. Now, they've got a legitimate excuse. They wanted to build a stadium, and they should just have enough to keep them up there. These are the things Everton have done wrong, and I can't stress how much I believe this comes from the top of the club, not having a clear line of decision making. Because I think at the moment, and you only have to listen to Sky and go, Farhad Moshiri wants one thing and Bill Kenwright wants another thing. The last time I knew Bill Kenwright was an employee of Farhad Moshiri, the last time if someone wants to tell me I'm wrong, I thought Bill Kenwright was
by the club,
is an employee. He doesn't own the club. He doesn't have
as many shares. Fard Moshiri is now the majority shareholder. He used to be he's not only the majority shareholder, he's got over 50%.
77%.
Exactly. So I don't get this thing about when people go, there's a split. Why is there a split? I know he's the chairman, but why is there a split? Does that mean the CEO has a say in it as well? I don't get what goes on at board level, and we're not privy to it either. But if you're looking from the outside in, it seems very
messed up.
It seems very muddled. Can I ask you a question, Mike? And maybe if you were to say, and these are our clubs, but say Jurgen Klopp left tomorrow, who do you think would make the decision at Liverpool to get a new manager?
Probably the chairman.
Who's the chairman?
Moore, is he?
Moore's the CEO, isn't he?
Is he CEO? Okay.
Have they got a chairman?
Oh, John Henry.
John Henry's the owner.
But isn't he the chairman, or is it that assistant? The other fella?
Billy Hogan.
No. Or is he? It might be Hogan. No, there's another fella though, who's with Henry.
Yeah.
Is it Werner?
Werner.
He's still there. Tom Werner.
Yeah.
But I don't know, probably speak to that Michael Edwards as well. I honestly don't know, mate. I don't know who would make the decision. Probably a team of them, but what I bet you what had happened is as long as if there was any indication that Klopp was going or they needed to replace him, they'd have a short list of who they wanted. They wouldn't be just flipping a coin. Steve Kelly says, is this a bigger mess than when Koeman's here? I don't think it is. I just think this is a case of the managers not getting the best out of it.
I think it's the same mess. Genuinely, I think it's the same mess. The only difference is we've got Brands, but I think you've got to allow Brands to do his job, and I'm not 100% sure they do.
Okay. Dave Wild says, do you think Moyes is delaying waiting for a long-term contract or waiting until the derby, after the derby, especially with his record?
Well, number one, it'd be quite cheeky if he was waiting, trying to Allardyce us off, wouldn't he?
But then why not for him?
No. I mean, listen, Allardyce knew exactly what he was doing. He knew that Everton were in a dire situation. He didn't have to come. He knew he had the tools to keep us up, to do what he needed to do. He did it.
Tim McCowan says, never heard of a bad run of games, keeping the manager in a job. Typical Everton.
Yeah.
Steve Kelly says, I seen certain other fans Twitter last night telling Silva to F off. We need to show a bit of class as fans.
No, that's it. I don't get
I'll
personal.
give him his due. It's not from the lack of trying, but he doesn't want him here. Teddy Sass says, I don't think we can throw away these next two games and sacrifice Marco that way. If we get beat, we don't know where we'd be in the table then. But it's also the losing momentum we'll be on then if we take a hiding. Slipping into a quandary can happen really quickly and be hard to crawl out of. Imagine how we'd all be feeling losing these next two games. It's bad enough now. Can you see us not losing the next two games, Ted? Owen Park says, I know you hate him, but I'd rather Sean Dyche than Eddie Howe. I'd probably want Sean Dyche over Eddie Howe. Mark G says, regarding the Brands, hot take from Paul the Hack Joyce. He couldn't even be bothered to be accurate about who started when. He hung his entire argument on how Brands and Silva started at the same time. A monkey could have spent 10 seconds on Google to learn that Silva had been courted 9 months and then was hired in 2018. Brands was hired in June 2018. Attempting to pin any aspect of Silva or our performance this year on Brands is disingenuous at best, completely asinine at worst.
To be fair, we had been after Brands for a while as well. But I get your point.
They were both working in tangent with each other, but whether Silva was Brands' number one choice remains to be seen, obviously. Graham Ferguson says, evening lads, the bits on Monday Night Football about us was spot on. Moyes left, we tried Martinez, Koeman and Silva, who all apparently wanted to play a bit more attractive. Maybe we need a manager and a team that gets the crowd going. Teams used to hate coming to Goodison, now they must love it.
It's a bit of both, isn't it? I had no problem with the way David Moyes used to play. I had no problem at all. Absolutely none. And his football, people would say it was boring. Martinez football was much more boring, for entire games.
I like hybrid football. Mix it up, play nice football sometimes, knock it down. Other times, go direct if you need to, get it wide, get crosses in, get shots in. There's no one way to play football. There isn't. You do what's effective for you. Get
Winning
Liverpool don't pass the ball around 900 times. They mix it up. They don't mind.
Winning football.
Van Dijk goes long, 70, 80-yard passes to Salah loads of times to try and get him in over the top. Then they'll keep the ball when they're ahead. It's being clever. It's winning football, like you've just said. There's many different ways to do it. We need to move away from this thing of total football that doesn't exist. Steve Hardy said, you would like to think Silva would decide he's nothing to lose and would stick Keane, Iwobi, Gordon and Bellingham in, but you know it's going to be the same old, same old. Steve Donahue says, must be shift for Silva knowing you're going and having to go through the motions. Look, I know he's not the man to take us forward, but it's poor for him and the club. We have no class.
He's, at the end of the day, for Silva, he's the only one who's got to front it up. He's the one after the match who's got to be, whatever happens, has got to do an interview and has got to stand in front of people because other people can't make their minds up about who they want. This fella's got to go into I've got no problem with this man in terms of him being a man. Do I think he's a good enough manager for Everton Football Club? No, and I have not felt like he was a good enough manager for nearly 11 months. But he has to go into a press conference on Friday. That's not fair.
No, it's going to be ridiculous.
That's not fair. Sunday's got to come out and be the manager in front of fans.
All the photographers will be round and the camera will be in his face.
That's not fair. That's not fair on him. Where are the people who run the club when this all happens? And of course he earns a good salary and all the rest of it, and that's part of his job. He's got to stay professional, and by staying professional, people, whatever happens at the end of it, people will come out and say, he showed integrity and didn't spit his, dummy out and say anything he shouldn't have said, and we'll keep fighting and all that stuff. But I find it bizarre. But Martinez had to do it. Martinez knew he was going. And he came out after the Sunderland game after we'd been beaten 3-0. He knew before that game he'd lost his job. Yeah. And he did it. He did it. But I think that performance that night showed you what happens when you continue with a manager who knows that it's all.
This manager's looked like he's been on his last. It's about the 6th time he keep going. He won't survive, and that's no good for anybody. Dave Collins says, chat Snyderland, get banged. Keith Powell says, just as a matter of interest, can anyone tell me what Bowen Morty was brought in to do, what he's done, and how it has or hasn't affected the FC? But I don't think he's done very much, mate, and that's the crux of it. You don't see him up and down on the line, you don't see him jumping up and down, do you? Berating officials or pulling people into position. Now, that might be the way they work.
My problem with Lewis Bowen-Morte is not a problem with Lewis Bowen-Morte. Again, it's if I'd been the club and I'd been the director of football in the summer, I would have looked at that season as a whole and seen what he was losing as an assistant, and I would have said to him, you need to replicate that. You need a bit of experience next year, someone you trust, or maybe, whatever, to go out and get a quite young, novice coach in to be the assistant manager. Someone who didn't, had not worked in the Premier League as a coach before. Yeah, I think they're the decisions that cost people jobs at the end of the day.
I think his backroom staff aren't very good. And I don't mean Duncan in that, I mean the people he's brought in. There's no experience there. Bowen-Morte, what the if he'd have had anything about him, he'd have made Duncan his assistant. Really, when you look back.
Or Unsworth. No, I know, I'm just saying, or Unsworth.
Yeah, you'd have had someone like that there to shield you, to be able to bounce off, to get maybe a different perspective on stuff. And he didn't, he went safe, but also put himself under massive pressure. If he wanted to keep Portuguese, then he should have got a vastly experienced number 2 if he could have got someone like João Pedro, who's gone and doing really well where he is. And he didn't, he went for, like you said, a novice, who seems to me to offer absolute zero. Teddy Sass says he picked the slowest team last week, and the mad thing is he complained about our lack of pace in his aftermatch interview. I feel a bit sorry for him now, and if it's the board's plan to sacrifice him over the next 2 games, then against them teams, it's a bit naughty. Kane's just paid for Man United away. Hopefully we've got Allegri in by then. Gary Wall says, I've become numb to the current situation. Silva is a dead man walking and everybody knows it. Michael H. Hulfaker says, just give us AOB. I can't do Everton right now. And Tim McEwen says, what do you think of Keane liking a video on Instagram of the fans chanting at Silva?
That, yeah.
I'm not convinced. You know what? I've got no problem with Moise Keane. He's a young lad. He's come here for a lot of money. He wanted to play. He was at Juventus. He's come here, wants to play games. The manager's not putting him on the pitch. And so he's going to react like kids do.
Yeah.
Is it right? No, but he's a kid.
Right, got someone here.
Yeah,
I've got someone on YouTube. Sorry for ignoring the YouTube people. Hello, guys. Thanks for having me on the show again. Sincerely, Kyle. I was from yesterday. Cheers, Kyle, for coming on the phone in yesterday. Kev Robb says, I can't believe he's still there. Embarrassing PR for the club. Barry Stevens says, evening, guys. How is he still in a job? He also says, would getting a new manager affect FFP?
I don't think so.
It doesn't really matter.
It depends how it's done. No, listen, we're close to it anyway. If the worst comes to the worst, you get a fine first time round, so take the hit.
Michael Wood says, hello, lads. Do you think Moshiri is giving Silva Leicester and Liverpool so we can perhaps lure someone better in with less difficult fixes to start with? Yeah, we've already mentioned that, haven't we?
Possibly, yeah.
Wayne Ellis says, evening, lads. Why are we becoming a laughing stock of the league? Because we're so poorly run, as far as I'm concerned. Roger says, hi, guys. Do you think having Moyes gives us some stability? It might just be what we need until we go into the new stadium. Well, that was my argument for having Benitez, was you would get that stability to go into a new stadium. Stability being, well, you know what the bottom line's going to be. It's probably going to be top half, and then if we do well, we're going to be trying to get into Europe. Andrew Ryan says, so the Chinese league finishes on Sunday and Silverton's is in charge till Sunday, at least, just saying. Simon Townley says, Brands needs to decide who the next manager is. Ken Wright shouldn't have a say in the matter, and Moshiri needs to trust his director of football. Paul Livesey says, I get the shout from Moyes boys, but it wasn't great under Moyes, knife to a gunfight. No wins away at Anfield, 11 years. I remember coming to a point where enough was enough with Moyes.
We need an ex-player. Carry on. We need
sorry, yeah. We need an ex-player as manager, someone the fans can get behind. I haven't sung a song about a manager since Bobby Says It All. Yeah, listen, Moyes used to take... Moyes obviously wasn't great against the top teams, but he was great against everyone else, and that's why we can always finish 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th.
And beat most of the top teams at home.
At home, which I bite your hand off right now. Simon says the thing with Liverpool is they know who their next manager is after Klopp, and he's getting experience in the big club in Scotland. They're always one step ahead. We need to be like that. Ian Lyon says, are you blind? Big Dunk has his badges, been around the club for years, knows what we love about being an Evertonian.
We're not blind.
Blind.
I'm certainly not blind. I've been batting for him for 2 weeks. To be the manager, he should be given a go, but it's how you do it, isn't it? The thing with
I went enough fanboy on the video. I'm just keeping it.
No, I'm not fanboy. I'm just saying.
No.
For me, it's the same argument for Arteta as Duncan. I don't see any difference other than one was sat with Pep. So what?
Let me just say, and I don't know if we've said this on here, but after we spent time with Duncan, both of us were very, very impressed. Very, very impressed. In fact, anyone who's in our WhatsApp group will know how impressed we were with him. And you can't help but feel like he could do the job massively. He is a very impressive person, and his knowledge about players and his knowledge about the game is massive as well. I think sometimes we all get the wrong impression of him, or some people get the wrong impression of him. But genuinely, if he was given the job, I think it would be in good hands. It's just that crossover period and deciding whether now is the right time for him. That's the only thing. Like,
definitely.
That's the only thing.
It's the fear, isn't it?
It's the fear factor. But as I said before, who's to say that any novice didn't come in now and treat this like, you know what, got the rest of the season, we'll win games, I can get this team motivated, I can get us up that table. And with, I suppose the thing with Ferguson as well is because he's in and around it, he already knows what the characters are in the dressing room. He'll already know who he can who he needs to put an arm round or who he needs to give a kick up the arse. I'm not sure at the moment as a coach he's allowed to do either of those things. So I think he's quite marginalised in his job. So, I mean, you know, we spent 3 hours with the man. We've got a little bit of an insight. You know, take our trust. He's quite...
I think you'd see a very different Everton side if Duncan Ferguson was in charge. Very different. And very different effort. And very different changes made elsewhere.
I think you'd see a different atmosphere around the place as well.
Without a shadow.
I think
I think he could be like Klopp, I've said that
It's
before.
very difficult to get him across to people, though. You mention him and people just laugh at you. Or he's part of the reason why we've been crap, blah, blah, blah. So, it's difficult.
The only way he'd ever do it is just he'd need to be given it and just get on with it. It'd be about proving people wrong. That's what it would become. Or he'd have to leave, do his job, and then come back.
I think he'd have to do it, if he got given the job, he'd have to have someone alongside him. Some bit of experience. And not, when I say some experience, I don't mean Joe Royle. I mean, someone maybe in their, like, you know, 50s, let's say.
It'd be great if he could get Moyes as an assistant, wouldn't it? But I don't think Moyes
Can't see that happening.
No, but I mean...
But maybe someone like Alan Irvine.
Or Irvine.
You know, someone like that, someone who's been an assistant at the club not so long ago, who understands that role and understands, you know, Duncan, who is a proper assistant and knows Everton, and can be the buffer. So, we'll wait and see.
Keith Powell says, being personally abusive to Silva is not the way we should treat our manager. Evertonians are better than that. Come on, what I hear is out of order. Let's not stoop to the Reds level. Bill Cummings says, intensity, pressing, passion, all this Barca life stuff, we aren't good enough for it.
We don't do it, never mind.
We don't do it anyway. Teddy Sass says, with a capable manager, we're capable of beating Leicester. I worry us playing. I know, but who's the capable manager, Teddy? Who would you have Sunday? If it's up to you now, Teddy, who would you have Sunday? Let me know. Paul Lightley says, ideal time to give Keane or Gordon a run out over the next 2 games and see what mettle they have. Keane, maybe. Anthony Gordon. I know what you're saying, they're kind of dead rubbers. But they're not, though, are they?
Premier League
they're
games.
not, are they?
Mad.
Neville Southall would be fuming if he heard that, because what Nev said to me was, every game's a one-off. Doesn't matter if Liverpool have won 30 games on the run. When you play them, it's a one-off. And he's right, isn't he? Mark G says, the teams below us in the table and who they play the next 2 match days. West Ham, they've got 13 points. They've got Chelsea away and Wolves away. Norwich have got Arsenal at home, Southampton away. They've got 10 points. Southampton have got Watford at home, Norwich at home. Bloody hell. Watford have got Southampton and Leicester away. So, I suppose for us, they're not that bad, those games. I know it's bad we're looking like this, but you've got to. Derek Hulton says, I don't agree with you, Baz, throwing the games away. I'm not saying we should throw the games away. I'm saying that is that what the club are doing. You know I'm not saying that. We still have to give everything. I expect the players will give it a real go. Do you? Did we give it a real go Saturday? But that's me being a blue. But I think we've never been able to recreate
I'll tell you what, one thing we haven't even mentioned here, by the way, right? One thing we haven't mentioned is those players, right? They're getting away with murder, right? Of course they are. Now, Sunday, I'll tell you what, right? If he's still in charge on Sunday, right, let's see what the attitude of those players is in terms of bouncing back. Worst display I've seen for a very long time.
Worst display under him, 100%.
It's the worst display I've seen for a very long time, right? So let's see, have they got any professional pride? Or will it be a case, and I can see this happening, and this sounds terrible, right? But I can honestly see Everton conceding. And then conceding very quickly. And it could end up 4-0 against Leicester.
House of cards.
Depending on the mentality of those players.
They just cave when we concede.
That's because if you allow it to be a freebie, it will become a freebie. But it won't become a freebie to those players because there's no pressure on them. It doesn't matter. None of them are getting sold. We're not getting rid of it any time soon. I think. To
me, there's only 3 or 4 of them who should be bombed out anyway. I think the others.
No, I know, but
there's a crux there.
The problem is that We're not even that bad a side. That's the irony. Last Friday, I came in last Friday, I had an interview with French television. That's going to go out ahead of the derby if you're in France. And they were like, what's it like to have the two of the French squad in your team? The full-backs are both French. And I was like, yeah, they are, aren't they? One of them's a starting left-back for the world champions, and the other one gets in the squad. And he's like, what's that like? That's why the French shirt's up. I put it up, you know.
Keep them happy.
Done me bit, you know what I mean? I was like, yeah, you know, I said that's an honour, isn't it? And it's an honour that we've got the French starting left-back, the world champions. And I said, we've got players all over the pitch that play for good teams, and yet we're shite.
You didn't say shite, though, did you?
No, I'm saying it now. I'm saying we're
okay.
shite.
Yeah.
I'm saying it now. I mean, it means something else in French, anyway.
Yeah.
Probably. I was mid.
Sacre bleu.
No, mid means shit.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying
saying
sacre bleu.
And that's the point, isn't it? We've got good players. And that's what makes this whole thing even worse. It's just that... It's like, I don't know. It's like having the ingredients, isn't it? To a Bosch curry, but trying to make a Chinese with it or something. I don't... Do you know what I mean? Like, putting like a weird... Putting like having a Bosch curry, but putting brown sauce on it or something. You know, brown sauce is sound when it's on bacon and sausage. Not on a curry. You know, I don't know if any of that made sense, but
Yeah,
you know,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Derek says, I think we've never been able to recreate Moyes and his work ethic. Will we see Silva do a press conference this Friday? Yes, because he's got it. As you both said, our board is being run by amateur business people.
well, they're not amateur business people, are
They
they?
just see the amateurish, I suppose. Steve Hardy said, I live in Leicestershire. Most of my mates are season ticket holders at Leicester, and I've got one of their tickets. Can't say I'm looking forward
Were
to
you
it.
up the clackers?
Steve Kelly says, with you on the hybrid football, Bad's been thinking about it a lot today, who we could go for when they sack him. I keep coming back to Duncan Ferguson. People say Unsworth, why? Because he's won a Mickey Mouse trophy for the under-23s.
It's not a Mickey Mouse trophy,
Says
is it?
no offence.
What it is a trophy to allow that league to have some kind of point, right? But there is no point in it because actually all the other teams in the under-23s, if you go and watch them,
All play
they play development sides. Like Liverpool won't win it because their under-23s up. Like Liverpool's under-23 manager is going to be taking their team in the League Cup quarter-finals because it's going to be full of 23 players because Liverpool are playing in the World Club Championships. That's the difference. That right there is the difference. We're playing at Goodison tonight in the Leasing Cup. God, do me a favour.
Okay.
No, but this is the point, isn't it? This is the point. We are so poorly structured that we are giving credence to the Premier League 2 and going, oh, it's a bot. I mean, listen, I've been at both games when we won it, and it's great for those players. But other clubs don't see it like that. Other clubs go, we're not asked if we win this because we're trying to win that. So this is just like, get players, give them a game, test them. But the point is that those players are going to go and play in the first team, hopefully. Ours don't. Ours are like, I'm Premier League 2, I'm on Instagram. Look at my boss car, I'm on 25 grand a week, blah, blah, blah. That's the difference. That right there is the difference.
Frank Roche says, lads, what influence does Dunk really have? Did you pick up any sense of this when he was in recently? What's his role?
He has no influence.
Well, he's a first-team coach, but he's got no influence because he's not allowed to have any influence.
Think about what language he speaks and what language he doesn't speak. That tells you.
There you go. He wants more. There you go. It would be different, trust me, Frank, if he was in charge. Dave Wild says, how does a record that looks like a North Wales village keep a manager in a job? Can you remember any manager you were keeping his job with? David Collins says, let's go nuts. Arteta manager backed by Cahill, Ferguson, Unsworth, Sheed, Snods, Diamond and Dazer.
Yeah, bring the band back. Darren Griffiths can be the masseur.
The Anfield record under any manager hasn't been so great, so can't label that at Moyes. We've had 3 to 4 wins in 30 years.
40 years.
Yeah. You can Anfield record, you can't label it anyone. Everyone's been garbage.
99.
Only one who was decent there was Royal.
87.
86, 85.
85. No, 84.
Yeah, it was that season.
Yeah.
84,
So 5 times, I think we've won at Anfield in 40
the one
years.
before that was 70, yeah. 1970.
5 times. So it's not, it's a club thing.
It's not just the manager. Last couple, I'd be interested to see who Dunk's backroom team would be. Exactly, Baz. Keith says definitely not the right time for Dunk. Love having him there, but maybe someone who can bring his qualities forward more may be ideal. Maybe. Bill Cummins says put Dunk in as assistant. Yeah. Dave Collins says, I suppose with Dunk and his pigeons, we'd be off to a flyer. Adam Smith said, I usually agree with most of, or a lot of what you guys say, but don't totally disagree on Moyes. What our problems have been if you think, won't he just stick with Coleman, Schneidlin and Walcott instead of Iwobi and the like? Have you forgotten what he was like? Have you forgotten what he was like? We had some very good teams under David Moyes. He gave debuts to Victor Anichebe, James Vaughan, Wayne Rooney, Tony Hibbert, Jack Rodwell, Leon Osman. I'm not saying he's great, I'm just saying he would be bad for coaching the likes of Tom Davis. Also, does it matter if he annoys our better players?
I think he'd love Tom Davis.
I do.
Genuinely think he'd love Tom Davis.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Teddy says Duncan or Moyes, but only as a stopgap until we can assess our options in the summer. We get an immediate lift. What are your thoughts? Keep him in for the next 2 games. Take it I'd nor hang him out to dry and dig deeper in. I don't know what the right thing is, Teddy. To be honest, if they were,
I don't know.
they probably should have sacked him realistically on Sunday and just dealt with it.
Genuinely.
No, but just dealt with it, shouldn't he? But they've left it now, so I don't know whether they will.
It's on them, isn't it?
So it's on them. They've made this decision and they'll have to deal with it. Right.
Ian Lyons has said, didn't mean you lads, I meant the board of Mashiri. If Lampard can do it, why can't Dunk? Paul says, if it was up to me on Sunday, it would be Duncan in charge. Roderick says, after the last performance, I went from disappointed and angry at the club for effing up the season, but now I'm hurting and I'm afraid. Kevin says, Dunk hasn't been in charge of any team, not even in the under-18s. I love the man, but he needs experience away from Everton before he can be considered. He seems almost too emotional about Everton as well. And Phil McBoob says, the players haven't a clue on the pitch. When the young lads get a chance, they have something about an attitude, footballing, nous, and it slowly gets eroded.
Kev, all I'd say, and you make some good points there, he hasn't been in charge, but I don't give being in charge of the 23s any more credence than coaching first team players every single day. I don't. Sorry, I really don't. I don't think that qualifies David Undred any more than Duncan Ferguson just because he's in charge. Or Arteta, because he's in charge of the 23s. People are talking about giving it to Arteta. He hasn't done anything. He hasn't done as long as Dunk yet. So it's what you can't penalise one but say, oh, the other one's sound because he sat next to Pep. Because why? Doesn't make any sense. Undred doesn't make sense.
But at what cost?
But at what cost? Right.
There we go. We've done an hour.
That's it.
Oh my God, we've done just after 6 o'clock.
Good. Go home. Got a banging headache. Go home.
I thought you were going to say something else then.
No. I want to go home, have me tea early and forget about Everton.
You know, you won't forget about it.
I know.
I'm going to keep messaging on
Everton.
Everton.
E-V-E-R-T.
I'm putting the video out right now.
No, you're not.
I'm putting it on Patreon tonight. See what you feel about it. We'll do a poll. Shall I release this video in its entirety? Do I sing bad? John Blaine's rung you, by the way.
No, right, okay.
Just letting you know.
Right, where did you see it?
I can see it on your phone. I mean, you couldn't, but I could see
Well,
John
I was
Blaine
concentrating on the
Yeah,
show.
I could
wasn't
do both.
looking around like you.
running the gaff.
That I never like it when John rings me like that.
Ring them back.
If you know.
There we go. Thank you for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. See you laters.